All right, so we have Eric Yoshida, the host with the most, the one of the co-founders of GeekSports, alongside Hamza Nakvi, and myself, Javier Martinez, the editor. Let's start off by saying, Eric, you're looking fucking nice today.
Thank you.
Can you explain to us how you and your partner Hamza Nakvi, how you guys came to this idea of GeekSports.com?
Yeah. So one day we were just like, we're gonna drop out of college, but we
Uh-huh.
can't without a stable backup job. So this is our stable backup job.
Okay. And how did you guys decide on the name Geek Sports?
There were no other options.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a geek?
No.
I mean, the idea is a society, maybe, to being two science majors at, good colleges around the world.
Hold on, Hamza Nakvi. You just said a good college, but you in fact go to UC Riverside. Isn't UC Riverside one of the bottom UCs? Why didn't you go to a better UC?
Sadly, no other UCs took me, and it might be a bottom UC, but, better than TSU.
Yeah. All right. So, sort of what I was saying, let's talk about some of our past fantasy football experiences. Eric, I know that last year you had a fantastic draft. If I remember correctly, you drafted Lamar Jackson, Dalvin Cook, and Keenan Allen. I remember those three. Those three stood out. First of all, Lamar Jackson, what went through your head when you were drafting him?
I mean, it was obvious just looking at it from an analytics perspective when you see what he did the year before with the Ravens, right? I mean, you have, John Harbaugh basically renovated the staff solely around him, right? They got Ingram and Gus Edwards and all that. It was obvious that they were going to be intent on running the football. They drafted Marquise Brown, right? They focused sort of on renovating that offense designed perfectly for Lamar Jackson. And then, they drafted Dak Prescott as well, who finished, QB3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was sort of, you could see he got Kellen Moore, right? Former Cowboys quarterback, now turned offensive coordinator, who is a more modern type of coach, right? He fit in better with the modern NFL. And so just seeing that, and you have Cooper, you have Gallup, you have Zeke, obviously the offensive line, sort of set up Dak for success, which obviously is what he got. So getting those two is pretty easy the rest of the way. Dalvin Cook was more or less, obviously he had this label of being injury prone, right? He tore his ACL, and then year after the hamstring issues. When you look at that sort of stuff, ACL injuries, obviously you can't be injury prone if you hurt your ACL, right? You could look at other players who've torn their ACL and they have their career perfectly healthily. But sort of that hamstring injury that's associated with an ACL, that's a relatively common side effect, right? And so if you recognize that, then you can see that Dalvin Cook really wasn't injury prone. He's actually set up in a great spot. And going, third, fourth round, he was a bargain for a running back. So that sort of stuff, just looking at those trends is what helps me draft well, and what makes it so easy to go to the playoffs and championship year after year.
Sounds good. Now, Hamza Nakvi, I recall from last year's draft, in one of our leagues, you had a pretty good team, but one of the noticeable injuries was Jerick McKinnon, the 49ers running back. But I noticed that you were able, through countless trades, you were able to beef up your team. Can you explain to us your trading mentality?
So I go into the draft with the mindset of, like everyone else, hoping no one will get injured. But last year was one of my rough years where injuries plagued my team. But I was able to come out of it. I was able to trade. One of my biggest trade was to trade away Tyreek Hill in the beginning of the season when he did get injured. Yeah, because he was out for like a couple of games in the beginning, and I was actually able to get him back towards the end of the season. Just making small trades here and there. Along with the waiver wire pickups, I was able to maintain a steady pace and take myself all the way to the playoffs. So, anything can happen in fantasy football.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, myself, I'm a fantasy league winner in 2018 season. through waiver wire pickups, I picked up James Conner before the season even started. You know, I like to look at the news. Le'Veon Bell had
Nick
his
Chubb too,
contract.
right?
Make sure,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was during the season. But before the season,
Mm-hmm.
Le'Veon Bell was actually withholding from contract negotiations. So I don't know how anyone else didn't, risk that spot on their bench, but I did. You know, it's like, it might happen. So I picked up James Conner before the season even started, and then during the season, Mahomes after like week 3, I was surprised he was on the waiver wire. But yeah, I like to pick them up in the waiver wire if they're available. Then that's the best right there. You know.
I remember that season, nobody thought Bell was going to sit out, as you said. But, once he did, obviously, last season, Melvin Gordon threatened the same thing. And I remember every single person went for Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler. And
Mm-hmm.
Eckler ended up being, a top 5 running back
Yeah.
until Gordon came back. So,
Great pick.
yeah, definitely an interesting time. But we'll see how things go with COVID changing the fantasy football dynamic. Backups are going to be more important than ever, right?
Yep.
No, I believe so. Anytime a player gets sick, they're going to be out for a week, 2 weeks at least.
Mm-hmm.
Backups can step in.
Yep. Anyways, so that's sort of our introduction for the 3 of us, right? We're the only 3 people working at our fine company right now. Hopefully that will change as we grow and expand, thanks to you guys. Anyways, so sort of what we plan to do here, right, is normal industry. We use data and trends that are found sort of all throughout fantasy football to bring success in normal leagues. We tend to focus more on PPR, just standard redraft, but we're looking at dynasty and things like that. And me particularly, I work on daily fantasy sports. So you guys are setting lineups in FanDuel or in DraftKings, things like that. Then I'll be your primary source, weekly articles looking for, steals and lineup optimization options, things like that. Hamza, you want to explain what you're going to be taking care of?
Yeah, so I'm mainly going to be in charge of articles that are going to be coming. So what we plan to do, at least until the season starts, is release 2 articles per week for all of you. Tuesdays and Thursdays will be article days, so keep a lookout for them. There'll be small articles, stuff that we think that stands out. Like could be a sleeper that we think that you should target in your drafts. Could be the rookie running backs, rookie receivers. How are they going to end up doing? So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking care of the articles per week. So what we want to do for you guys is release 2 articles per week, at least until the season starts. Tuesdays and Thursdays will be the days where we release an article. So keep a lookout for those days. And a little bit about the articles. It's going to be short articles. They're going to be about sleepers, rookie receivers, rookie running backs that we think you should target, or even worth draft picks in the draft. So this is before the season starts, before your fantasy football draft is even set up, just so you guys can get a head start just by following us, subscribing to our email list on our website, and this way you can get a head start on the season. I'll pass it along to Javier, who will talk about podcasts.
Yeah, so I'm the editor. I'm in charge of the podcast and the image capabilities and the articles. I'll proofread their articles for any errors, grammar, tendencies like Hamza Nakvi has. But yeah, I'm honestly blessed to have been picked by these 2 gentlemen, in this fine journey of GeekSports enterprises. I just want to ask you guys, what do you plan on doing that will separate you from the rest? There's countless fantasy football podcasts, articles out there. What do you guys bring to the table that's different?
I think, personally is what we have is, proven experience, right? Like all of the other people out there, but we've all been, every single one of us have made multiple championships every single season consistently for the past few years, right? I think what's important for me, obviously, since, FanDuel and DraftKings and stuff, is just going to be success, right? That's going to be what helps bring credibility to my name, is just constantly winning, right? I mean, the goal is to not only win stuff for you, but win stuff for myself, right? It's just how you can know my advice is good, because the advice I give you guys is the same advice I'm going to use. Not only that, just sort of the connection that the 3 of us had, right? We've known each other for years. We know how each other think, how we operate, right? So hopefully it brings a more entertaining dynamic as we sort of get more used to this sort of stuff. Obviously, it'll be a little rough right now since this is our first podcast, but we'll get the hang of it pretty quick. What about you, Hamza?
And just to add on a little bit more to that, all I want to say is we're young, we're innovative, and we're going to continue to expand until we can reach as high as we can. And because of that, you stick with us. You expect something new every week. Expect to win your fantasy leagues because we will help you get there. You know, our DMs are open. You reach out to us. We have websites, emails. We're going to be posting weekly. So expect big help from us. And like we expect a lot from, like we expect you guys to support us, we will be supporting you throughout this process.
Yeah, to add on to that, we're small right now, so obviously we're more accessible than, ESPN or NFL. So if you have any questions about, do I want to start this player? Do I want to sit him? Who do I start? This wide receiver or this running back in my flex position? We're accessible. Just shoot us a tweet, and one of our two geniuses here, Hamza Nagli or Edgar Sheet. One of these two guys will help you out. Seriously, just shoot a question and we'll answer, and we'll back it up with we'll give you a good reason why you should start that player. And it could honestly be a big moment.
Yeah, I mean, fantasy football obviously has just some hits and misses, but we do our best to sort of limit those risks and just make smart, educated decisions. And that's sort of what's led us here, right? I mean, it's what's given us success throughout the years. So hopefully we can continue to bring that to you guys as well. But with that being said, we're actually going to be going in a little head-to-head competition with some of the other smaller fantasy football accounts out there. This is being set up by our writers, Hamza.
So what we're going to be doing is, I had this little idea where we could send a fantasy football draft with other smaller fantasy football accounts. So we're hoping to get about 12 teams, do a PPR snake draft format. And our goal of this is to show our followers our reasoning and our thoughts about every single pick and every single trade that happens in the league. So what we're going to do for you guys is we're going to create a draft board about what picks are done every single round by different accounts, fantasy football accounts, and by us, and explain, if it was a good pick, it was a bad pick, what we would have done in their position, stuff like that, just so you guys get to know us a little bit better and hopefully understand where we come from and use those strategies in your football drafts. Depending on how many people reach out to us, we can do another 12-person league, 8-person league, set it up, help you guys grow, help us grow. And other than that, if you have any other ideas for collaborations, our DMs are open. Always reach out to us. And yeah.
So with that being said, like Hamza said earlier, if there are any other smaller accounts who want to collaborate with us, or like Javier said, if anybody has any questions, obviously you guys are still getting to know us, still trying to earn your trust, of course, but feel free to ask, right? And we'll try and sort of build up our reputation as the season goes on. And hopefully as you get a little further in, you guys will understand that we're not as dumb as we may seem. But I think that's going to be the end of our first podcast. So if you guys liked it, let us know. Leave some comments. Don't forget to tweet us, say hi. Yeah, but thank you guys, and hope you all have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Stay
Thank
geeky.
you.